So I'm just raising that, Madam Chair, because my concern is being short of that money, not securing the $2 million and not achieving what sounds good around the table at the moment. But, you know, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And I guess my question is, through you, Madam Chair, are there other funds available like the Emergency Housing and Homeless Fund? I think it was around 360k, as an example. Are there other funds like that can stop this, that the two get the full amount? Because I just think it sounds good, but if the full amount isn't realised, it appears it won't happen. And I think that, to me, sounds like talk's cheap. So I guess all I'm saying is, are there other funds available to put away that risk of not finding the full amount that council can contribute to?
Dame Diane, would you like to come up and answer that question?
Thank you.
Morning.
In answer to your question, we already have 1 million in that we had from the leftover of the night shelter, so we capitalised and put that in. We'll have a shortfall on the current budget that we've got of around 600,000. Once we have our plans finalised and our QS finished, which we're pretty close to, we can go out and do fundraising. I am pretty much assured that between the foundations, and I've talked to a number of foundations, a number of banks, a number of corporates, that we will be able to raise that money.
Okay. Right. So it's been moved and seconded. I'm going to put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. No evidence. Archbishop. The Archbishop would be very pleased. He used to scare us little girls.
About 50 years.
Sorry?
He's the Archbishop for about 50 years, that guy.
Let's remember him. It was sort of used.
Barry Curtis of the Kids
Yes,
Church.
he was. Right, moving on, councillors, to item number 14. Reports pending status. I'm not sure who. Just a procedural item, I'll move it. Have I got a second to Councillor Darby? Have you got a question?
I'll second it.
Yeah.
And I just,
I don't know.
Madam Chair, I just want to refer to 94, and I'd like to speak to it and put an amendment on next item 15, and it's the item regarding the report that is due, and you can see it at the bottom of the landscape page, page 94. And the status suggests that has been addressed through a memo. And then I want to come to item 15 and address that, please.
Thank you.
$3 million.
Sorry? Yep. Okay. Well, that's any other questions on that? We'll address that at item 15. I'm just putting you on the list. Right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 15. I'll move item 15.
Madam Chair, if I can just continue.
Yes.
And I know the report says staff will not be present to answer questions. And we have received a memo. It's not attached to the print document. It's attached to the electronic on our website. Madam Chair, I'd like to move a B, that the report on the allocation of $3 million to the Harbour Access Trust remains outstanding. Now, you've moved it. Can I have a second to that?
Can I have a second?
Note the report on the allocation of $3 million to the Harbour Access Trust remains outstanding. We've received a memo, we haven't received the report.
Fair comment.
We've got a cover, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, through the chair, I can talk briefly to that if you wish. And it's been additional communications, I understand, from Mr. Kimpton to yourself, Councillor Darby. So yeah, the specific question was around the $3 million. So the memo was serving the purpose of answering that specific question. $3 million was set aside by the North Shore City Council pre-amalgamation. That money is still sitting as a piece of restricted equity for that purpose. In addition to that, the initial agreement, and as you've mentioned in comments about there were 21 conditions attached to that. Have those been met? Ongoing discussions are underway to discuss how we can still achieve the ultimate outcome of a marine facility with harbour access. Whether that particular site is no longer appropriate or not is one point, but there may be other alternatives. So those discussions are ongoing, and the intention was that that report would come back in due course because, no decision can be made to spend that $3 million unless it comes through a committee of this council.
So just on that, Madam Chair, and the first motion's been moved, but I haven't found a seconder for the second, so I can only speak to the first. The memo of the 24th of August does not satisfy the resolution. So I'm hearing that there's an acknowledgement from Finance that it doesn't satisfy the resolution. Is correct?
No, the intention was the actual specific question about the allocation of the $3 million made has been answered, and that the funds are still sitting, waiting to see if they'll be used as appropriately determined through the outcomes.
So, Madam Chair, supporting the allocation in 2010 is a relationship agreement with 21 conditions. To my knowledge, I've asked, are the conditions met? Has the waiver of the conditions, there's a clause on a waiver, has that been activated? There's no evidence to suggest the 21 conditions have been met or the waiver has been used by either party, the council or the Harbour Access Trust. Madam Chair, I mentioned this particular allocation and the contract between the two parties because there is an issue in Takapuna which has proved to be almost the ruination of the local board. One issue, and it's just pained and wrecked the community, and it's still not resolved. All I can do as a councillor, I don't have jurisdiction over reserve plans, and all the decision making is with the local board, and there has been ongoing split and a lot of friction, and ultimately that reflects on not just the local board, which is, its reputation is in tatters there because of this issue. It reflects ultimately on Auckland Council, and that's us. Our jurisdiction is over the allocation and ensuring that the allocation, it's not uplifted, but it's in our budget, ensuring that the allocation is consistent with the relationship agreement. The relationship agreement has 21 clauses, a document written in September 2010. It's not been before this body at all. At no budget refresh have we ever seen that relationship agreement. 21 clauses, and my view is none of them have been fulfilled, and the waiver has not been activated. So a lot of questions have been asked, as Mr. Ramsey's outlined. I've been to the Mayor, the Chief Executive, last October. I said that come the annual plan that's been confirmed, we should know more. And we still didn't know more. There is only one other allocation on our books that has not had this visibility. We're talking about $3 million, admittedly not uplifted. And that is the grant to the Auckland Theatre Company, which we, some of us, went and saw revealed today, a beautiful building. That's the only other grant. And you will remember the transparency we had over that grant. It was quite regular. So I'm just saying that it is time for us as a governing body to step in and understand fully a $3 million allocation, because it is, I cannot stand by and see part of my community continue to be ruined and in combat, absolute combat in the Takapuna area and wider over this particular issue. We've got to address this. The first Finance Committee has got to have a look at this issue. It can't be left until such time that the parties have arrived at some kind of decision. We have got to participate in the decision making.
Thank you, Councillor Darby. My understanding, Councillor Darby, is that you've had these discussions with Mr. Kimpton, and he's told you that there are ongoing discussions about this money with the parties that signed up to that agreement. Is that correct, Kevin? Mm-hmm. That's my understanding, and you were informed of that.
I've been informed. The governing body has not been informed. It's $3 million. 21 conditions have not been met. A waiver clause has not been met. It's fundamental. It should be transparent.
We will note it as a B. Have I got a seconder for that?
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Clough. Right. We'll note it as a B, and it can be brought up at the next council. Right, if there's no other questions or discussions, I'll move those recommendations. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Councillors, before we move into confidential, this is the last meeting of the Finance and Performance Committee for this term. I'd like to thank, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Tandem. I mean, they live stream, they must sit through here wondering sometimes what's going on, very quietly in the background. And unfortunately, they don't have time to spruce up how some of us look. And I've often wondered that. The first time I ever saw myself, I thought, my goodness. But thank you, guys. Very well done. You're very unintrusive and you work very well, so thank you. Can I thank the finance team generally? You know, we've put through 2 long-term plans. We've put through 4 annual plans. We've had long workshops, long meetings, and you've always actually managed to keep a sense of humour. I haven't always, but I've tried. and we've certainly had some really interesting debates around this table. Ross, I thank you as Deputy Chair for this term. You've been a great support and always there when we needed to discuss things. One of the good things about this council is we're very short on names. So if I say I want to thank Matthew and Andrew and, you know, I've probably covered most of it, but I would like to thank all of the team. Francis, for your support and over the last few years has been fantastic. Kevin and I work together at Rodney, so whenever I need anything, I go to Kevin. He's my go-to person and always helpful. And, of course, Sue, who is, at the moment is offshore shoring up our credit ratings, as she has done since she started. An amazing woman. I sometimes, on the campaign trail, get a bit concerned when people go on about the amount of people in this council who are earning heaps of money. Well, you know, it's the old monkeys and nuts and all that sort of scenario. We've got very good people. And as you saw in the annual report today, we're a multi-billion-dollar business. And you don't actually pay peanuts to monkeys for that. You pay them good salaries, and these guys earn it. We heard about the health and safety before. The finance team, when we're doing those LTPs and the annual plans, just put so much effort in, and I know that they're working, as I said before, hours, long into the night, long into the mornings. They don't see their families for weeks on end, and I think that's really important. So thank you. Not sure what's going to happen next time, but I've been very honoured to have this position for 6 years. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I'd like to, in acknowledging what a challenge democracy can be at times, I'd like to acknowledge your chairmanship, and can I also acknowledge Democracy Services and Mike in particular. I think without Mike and some of these hefty deliveries that need to be done at the last minute, the challenge of information flowing freely is one that Mike has been superb in supporting us. But congratulations to you. It's a difficult area, and I think increasingly when Auckland Council comes to grips with things, Parliament has a speaker. We don't have a speaker, so it's beholden on all of us to provide that collective leadership, and so I thank you for your leadership over the last 6 years.
Thank you, and of course Mike and Sandra and Cecily and Tam and all the others over the years, thank you very much as well. Thank you. Councillor, sorry.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor Fletcher. I'd like to echo your words. The Chair of Finance is often a poison chalice because you do receive all the criticism for everything that we have decided as a collective, and you're now out on the campaign trail, Madam Chair, defending all the decisions that we've made financially, and that's hard, and I think you've done that with good grace. I also want to acknowledge at a personal level your huge role that you've had in keeping a lot of the work of council going on a day-by-day basis, as well as chairing finance. Finally, I just want to say, yes, I think for those of us who've chaired these, we've all had our moments of being grumpy, and I think they've been well deserved. I think every now and again a good school teacher does need to get a bit grumpy, but mostly I think these meetings have been held with good humour and good heart, and you've been responsible for making sure that that happens, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, thank you. The thing that really has surprised me is some of my community seem to think that because I'm the chair of finance, I should write the cheques. And they're saying, but you're chair of finance, why haven't we got all our roads fixed? And why haven't we got this? Which I always think is hilarious. If only I had the chequebook at times. But never mind, thank you. Ross.
I was going to echo the same sentiments about your chairmanship. Thank you very much for the work you've done, and yes, a vote of thanks to the finance staff, all and sundry. Thank you very much. It's been good.
Thank you.
Paul Penny.
Thank you. And now I'll move. We go into confidential for the reasons in the agenda.